Hiya guys, welcome back to my channel, only me again, and today in this video I'm going to be showing everybody how I would go about cleaning and straightening a silver hammered coin. So I've got a coin to show you in the video, and here it is. So this one here is actually a coin I found very recently on one of my metal detecting videos. And this is a silver Elizabeth I sixpence. Now, as you can see with this particular coin, we've got a lot of sort of bad toning on the coin. Quite a lot of the sort of mud still in the coin there as well. And on the other side, again, we can see it's, yeah, it's very much lost its luster, this coin. So it does need a little bit of TLC. And as you've probably spotted, there is quite a hefty little bend in this coin here as well. So our aim today is to try and get that nice and straight and get the coin looking very, very nice and very, very sort of displayable. So that's the coin we're going to be working with today. And the idea is that we're going to get it looking a little bit like this one. Now, very important to note with this coin is that when I found it, it was in a very, very similar condition to this one. Only the other coin was actually bent entirely in half, okay? So this particular coin was bent in half, and I cleaned it and I straightened it, and now it's lovely and flat, as you can see. And it's, yeah, you can just see a lot more of the detail. It's a little bit more true to how it would have looked when it was in circulation, and maybe even so when the coin was minted. What you can see on the back here is the bust side. Now you can see this little crease mark here. Now that's actually where the coin was bent in half. So it wasn't entirely bent over, but it was most certainly sort of bent quite considerably around in half. And so I straightened it out, and that's the crease that was left from the straightening process. But it's only really noticeable in light such as this. And to be honest, the coin looks much more of a displayable piece now that it's straight and it's clean. Okay, so this is the coin we're going to be working with, and hopefully it's going to turn out something a little bit like this. Okay guys, so this comes with a complete word of caution, alright? So I clean my coins because I want them to look nice. I'm not really too bothered about the sort of monetary value of them, but I've got to say this, I wouldn't actually clean a coin that I know is going to be very valuable or it's a particularly rare type, okay? So I only do this on coins that I think are going to be good sort of for me to collect or to put on display, and I would rather them look nice and clean rather than be all sort of dirty and toned. Now, some people are going to watch this video and they're going to be like, whoa, what are you doing? You can't clean coins? Are you mad? You're ruining them. Oh, you know, I get it. I completely get it. And I'm not suggesting that everybody gets their coins and cleans them and does anything too dramatic to them until you know what coin you're dealing with, if it's valuable, if it's a rare type, if there's not much value to it. I mean, if it's like, I don't know, 80 to 100 pounds, it's not a very particularly rare coin. So if you want to keep it, I want to keep my coins because I put a lot of work into finding them, so I want to keep them, and I want them to look nice. So I've got no issues with cleaning them at all. So please don't watch this video and think to yourself, you know, I'm going to go and do this to all of my coins. It's just a word of caution. Check your coins first, make sure you know what they are, make sure that you're not doing this to anything that's really, really, really rare and valuable. And please only do this to your coins if you know you're not going to be destroying anything of any significant historic value. Okay, so that's the warning over. Let's crack on with the video, let's clean the coin up, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be quite impressed with the end result. Okay guys, so before we begin, you're going to need a few things just to prep before we do this. The first one is a soft toothbrush. Make sure it is a very soft one. The softer the better, really, because it's just really for getting the mud off. And secondly, you're probably going to need just a pair of rubber gloves, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So the first thing you're going to want to do to this coin is actually just wash it off, because you don't want any of the mud on the coin. That's probably going to be the most important part. And yeah, you just want to get rid of any kind of residue that's left on the coin, anything that isn't toning or damage, really. So I've already washed this one, and I literally just did it under tap water, just lukewarm, got the toothbrush and just scrubbed it just until I pretty much got all of the loose mud that was stuck to it off, and I was left with pretty much the bare metal. Obviously it's still got some of the mud scarring on the side here, but that's not a problem, that's going to come off a little bit later. And that's going to be the first step, guys. So we're going to wash the coin, give it a brush, make sure it's bone dry, okay? And then we're going to move on to the next section, which is going to be actually straightening the coin. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to need to do before we straighten the coin is just make sure that we've got the correct sort of things that we need. Now, generally there's two ways of doing this. And the first way would be to use a sort of small inline butane torch, because inevitably to straighten this coin we're going to need to heat it. Silver is a soft metal, and if you just try and bend it with your fingers, chances are it's just going to snap or it's going to break, especially when it's in a very brittle condition like this coin. I mean, to be honest, this actually looks like it's been thrown into a fire at some point, because it's very, very tarnished. And generally silver coins don't come out this tarnished. So don't just bend it, okay? We're going to heat it up. So if you haven't got a small butane torch and a heat-proof mat, okay, you can do what I'm going to do next, which is probably the easiest option, and that is to actually heat it up over a gas stove. All right. Now, some of you guys watching this, especially all the guys over in the States, you're probably not really going to have a gas stove, so you will end up having to use a small butane torch or a butane blower. And it's easy enough. I mean, basically you put it down onto the heat-proof mat, you obviously light the blower, and you start heating up the coin, specifically in the area where it's bent. All right. Now, if you remember the coin I showed you earlier, which was this one, this coin was pretty much bent in half. So when I was heating it up, I was heating up the part where the actual bend was, so it was pretty central to the coin. Now, as you're doing that, because it's central to the coin, you're probably going to start heating up the entire coin. And you'll know when it starts to get to temperature, because the coin will actually start to glow red. That's not a problem. It's not really going to affect the coin at all. Okay, so if the whole of the coin starts to sort of glow red and starts to heat up, then don't panic too much. But with this particular coin here, which is the one that we're going to be working with today, you can just see it's the edge here. There's a slight little bend in the edge, and we aren't really going to have to heat all of this coin up. All we're really going to have to do is just get this particular edge here glowing up nice and red, and then yeah, and then we can start to bend it out. Okay guys, so for those of you that aren't sort of familiar with the process of heating metal, it's relatively simple. You heat it up, it glows red, and then you begin to bend it out. There are some sort of instances where you might need to do a little bit more than that, and I'll explain that now. And basically, most ironmongers who work with metal know that the metal only stays hot for a certain amount of time. So they've only got a certain amount of time to actually work the metal into the shape before it then goes back into the forge. It gets heated up, and then they pull it back out, they do more hammering, and they get it right. So with silver, it's quite a soft metal, so the best way to actually do it gradually and to cause the least amount of damage to the coin, because inevitably you don't want the coin to just snap or break, is to do something called quenching. Now, you guys have probably seen people do this before, but with gold and silver straightening of coins, it's very, very important to do this, especially if your bend is quite severe. And the idea is that you heat the coin up to a certain degree, so it's glowing red, okay? What that's done is it's changed all of the elements within inside the metal, so they're all soft and they're hot and they're jumping around, so it makes it really soft and flimsy so you can move it, okay? Once you've got it to that point, you then dip it into some water, okay? And that forces the metal to cool down really quickly, which makes the molecules inside the metal really, really unstable. And then once you've done that, although it's cool, the metal's still quite soft, so you can actually begin to slowly bend it, and then you heat it again, quench it, and then you bend it, and then you heat it again and you quench it and you bend it until it's nice and flat, okay? And then the final stage of that is actually just to heat it once it's nice and flat and you finish straightening it, heat it till it's glowing red, and then leave it to cool down on its own. And what that will actually do is it will return the metal to its normal state, where it's hard and it's ready for use and it's essentially a proper coin again, all right? So when we're heating it up now, you'll see me basically dipping it in the water, which is called quenching, and then you'll see me heat it up again, dipping it in the water. I'm not going to have to do it too many times with this coin because although it's bent, it's not really bent that much, so chances are I might even have to just do it once or twice. But the quenching is a very, very important part of straightening coins, and if you don't do it, then yeah, you're going to potentially just lose out on a ton of detail and you might actually wreck the coin. So it's very important not to do that. So yeah, let's get on with the heating up. I'll show you guys how I do it, and let's move on. And there we go guys, the coin's just starting to glow red. Let's take it out, put it into the quench water. There's the noise again. Okay guys, so here's the coin, and as you can see it's yeah, not looking too great at the moment, but don't worry because it's meant to look like that. It's just been heated up. So I can see the lip here that I want to bend out, and I'm going to use something wooden to bend that out with. And what I always use is this big old chunky wooden rolling pin because it's got a lovely flat surface and it's heavy enough for me to do what I want to do. So what I'm going to do is put it down on another piece of flat wood, and I'm just going to very, very gently push down on it until I can get it to go flat. Okay, now as I said to you before, this coin is relatively easy to do because it only had a slight bend just around the edge of it. Other coins that are literally bent in half, you tend to need a few different tools just to try and prise it, you know, a tiny bit at a time. Okay, now I have basically used the rolling pin on this coin, and I've just pushed down on it, not necessarily hard, but just very gently, just pushing down on it, applying a bit of pressure to make it as flat as this surface and as flat as the bottom of the rolling pin. And as you can see, because I have heated it up and I have quenched it, this coin is now completely flat already. Look at that. And the edge, which was bent and had a slight crack in it, is gone. It's yeah, it's completely flat. So I'm really happy with that. I don't think I'm going to need to quench it again. So I'm going to revert now back to the process where I heat it up, and because I've finished bending it and I don't need to do anything more to the coin, I'm going to heat it up and then I'm just going to leave it on this wooden surface here to just cool naturally. So let's do that now. There we go guys, so the coin's now heated up nice and red, and what we're going to do is just put it straight down onto the wooden surface and let that one cool nice and naturally. Okay, so here we have it. Here's our coin, and we've heated it, we've quenched it, and we've straightened it. And yeah, check it out. That is completely straight and flat. So that's how the coin would have been just after it was hammered and when it was minted. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. However, not a nice looking coin, is it? And I know what you guys are thinking. How are you ever going to get that coin looking anything half as good as the other one I showed you? Here it is. Okay, so what I can tell you is that this coin also at one stage looked like that. And the next stage of this video is I'm going to show you how I get my coin looking relatively good again. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back under the water, and I'm going to get my soft toothbrush, and I'm just going to go over it again just to get rid of any of the sort of toning or any of the bits that I didn't get off originally, which are now sort of crustated onto the surface of the coin completely off. So I'm going to go and do that now, just under a bit of normal tap water with my toothbrush, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, so here is the coin. It's had a bit of a scrub under the tap with the toothbrush, and this is what it looks like now. Not too much different to how it looked before, in all honesty, but that's where the magic of the next stage comes in. So what I use now is my secret ingredient. Well, it's not really secret, everybody probably uses it, but I just find that it's the best thing imaginable for cleaning coins. And that particular item is this stuff here. Now, it's brilliant. I know it says it's a polish, and trust me, I know a lot of you are going to be looking at this video going, there is no way I am putting my coins anywhere near that stuff. But trust me, I've used it on every single coin that I've cleaned, and it comes out absolutely fantastic. And this is going to be the secret ingredient of taking away all of the residue muck and the crud that's left on this coin. So let's do that, guys, and I'll show you what we're going to do to get it back looking like a fabulous coin again. Okay, so for this next stage, you're going to need the gloves, okay? That's because you're going to be working the magic stuff in with your gloves, all right? Because you don't really want to get it on your hands. Plus, it's an absolute pain to get out of your hands. So trust me, it's much easier if you've got gloves on. The second thing is you just want to make sure that there's no one else in the room that's you know, going to be able to grab hold of it, because it's not the nicest of stuff to use. So just clear the room full of you know, any pets or anything you might have, and then we're pretty much good to go. So I'm going to do that now. Okay guys, so here's my little resident furry friend. Hello. And he's just going to go out of the room just so he doesn't you know, step in it or try and eat any of the stuff. So off he goes. Okay guys, so I've got my gloves on, as you can see, and I've got everything we need here. So the next step is to actually apply some of the magic potion to the coin itself, and we're going to just start doing that now. So we'll start with the shield side, and we're just going to smear a tiny little bit on, just like a tiny sort of pea size, really. Okay, and this is where the gloves come in handy, because what you want to start doing is rubbing this in to all of the detail, and we'll flick it around and we'll get on the other side here. There we go. And basically you want to try and sort of focus on one side at a time, okay? Because otherwise you're just going to sort of run out and have to apply more and more. So we are literally just going to start rubbing this stuff in, all right? And it takes a little while to work, so we're not expecting miracles straight away, all right? But we're going to keep rubbing, and we're going to keep rubbing, and basically, all right, we're going to start see that all of the brown stuff on your gloves is all of the sort of bad toning of the coin, all right? So you want to try and focus quite heavily on the legend around the outside, because that's going to be the most difficult part to get into, okay? Don't worry too much about the open parts, so the bits around the shield and stuff like that, because they're pretty much going to take care of themselves. But work it into the legend, start to get some of this stuff off, okay? And then once you're sort of, you know, you've had a good go on one side, flip it over, apply a tiny little bit more and give it a go on the other side. So I'm going to do that now, and yeah, we'll see what it's like when I've finished. Okay guys, so I've probably been rubbing this coin more so on the edge than the middle. I don't think the middle part of this coin really needed too much, and it was the same for the back. So just been focusing a little bit more on the legend around the outside of the coin, and probably been going for about 5 minutes. So I think we're possibly ready to start wiping it off. And this is where you'll know if you need to sort of start concentrating a little bit more on some of the other areas. But as I said, you're not going to know if you need to have another go until you've done the first wipe off. So we're just going to get a bit of paper towel here. And yeah, we're literally just going to start wiping it off. And this is usually where the magic happens, because it's pretty unreal to see these coins come out in the condition that they do, based on, you know, just a little bit of cleaning and a little bit of polishing, really. Okay, so there we go. That's the first round, and that's not too bad at all, is it? That's really not too bad. There's still, obviously, you can see some of the mark here on the outside. I mean, you can very clearly see the date now, and before I couldn't even make out the mint mark, so I can definitely see that, which is great. Still need to do a little bit more, concentrate a little bit more down here. Okay, and a little bit more on this edge, and then on the back where the bust is, that's looking pretty good. I mean, I couldn't even see her bust before at all. I could barely just see the rose here. So yeah, I've got a little bit more work to do on this side, and probably a little bit more here around the legend. And then we'll be ready to sort of polish it off and make it look really good. So I'm just going to concentrate a little bit more on these guys, and then I'll let you know how it looks after that. So I think we are done with the process. I've probably repeated the first process that I showed you about 3-4 times. So I wiped it off, applied a little bit more, and then just kept working it in around the legend here, really. I really didn't do much in the middle at all, because I didn't think it needed it. So I've just been focusing on the outside, just trying to get rid of all of that horrible toning and the staining that was on the coin. But remember, this coin, it was in really bad nick. I've never found a hammered as bad as the one that this one was. So it was obviously been in some sort of heat, some sort of fire or something like that, and it was pretty bad. So I think anything we did to this coin was probably going to improve it, but I'm pretty sure that we've done a pretty reasonable job with this one. So now what we've got to do is just try and scrub off all of the good stuff, and hopefully we'll have a nice coin underneath of it. So let's do that, and I'll show you as I go. Okay guys, so we have finished getting rid of most of the secret ingredient, and we're pretty much left with a much better condition coin, but there is one final stage left, and that's just to give it a nice little buff with a microfiber cloth. And for that we can actually remove our gloves, because we don't need them anymore, because we've got rid of most of the secret ingredient. So let's do that, and then we can reveal the final end result. Okay, so here we are. this is the end result for our Queen Elizabeth I silver hammered sixpence, and I'm pretty impressed with it. We could obviously have focused a little bit more on the outside here, but to be honest, you don't want to get rid of everything because that highlights the legend. So that's a good tip, is when you're concentrating on the legend, when you're cleaning it, to obviously make sure that you clear the high points, because then the existing toning stays sort of deep within them, and then that sort of brings it out really, so means you can read the legend a lot better, and the coin just looks a little bit more pleasing to the eye. So that's that side, guys, and then we've got the bust side here, which yeah, I'm equally as pleased with, to be honest with you. As I said, you couldn't make out any bust on this coin before at all. Okay, so now I can clearly see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth I, and I can see the rose next to her head. I can even make out a nice scored line inside the frame here, and I can see quite clearly most of the details of the legend as well. So that is the coin pretty much cleaned. Now, as I said, guys, I know this process isn't going to be for everybody, and I know some people would never ever dream of doing anything like this to a silver hammered coin, especially something like this, which is nearly 600 years old. But this particular coin, it's not worth an awful lot. It's quite a common hammered coin, and to be honest with you, it was in really bad condition, and regardless of whether you like cleaning coins or not, I'm pretty sure that every single one of you watching this video is going to agree with me that this coin looks way better now than what it did when we had it at the start of the video. Okay, that now is going to look absolutely stunning in my coin case with all of my other coins, and to be honest with you, it's a process that I do, as I said, with most coins that I find that are in salvageable condition, and I'm really happy with it. So there we go, guys. One stunning, cleaned and straightened, completely straight, this coin. You can't even see the small crack, and you can't see the bend on the edge at all. Elizabeth I silver sixpence, straightened and cleaned. Okay guys, so there we have it. That is how I straighten and clean my hammered coins. So I'm just going to reiterate again, because I know I'm probably going to get flooded with comments of people saying what I've done is sacrilege and you should never ever clean a coin. Okay, it's just what I prefer to do. All right, so I have no intention of selling my coins. I have, not unless they're very high value. No intentions of putting them to auction or anything like that. I want to find them, and I want to put them in a display case or something like that, and just show off my finds. And to me, I think they look far better cleaned and definitely straightened. You know, if you've got a hammered coin and it's bent, it doesn't matter how much it's worth, you want to straighten it. So hopefully you've learned something today, and if you can put any of this into practice, please do. And if you've got any questions whatsoever about the process that I've done today, then please put a comment below. And that just leaves me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching my videos and subscribing. If you do like this video, hit a thumbs up, and I'll try and do some more very similar to it. And hopefully I should be out very soon doing some more metal detecting as well. So until the next time, guys, thank you very much for watching. Happy hunting. See you soon.